Welcome to April at Gasper Cottage. And we are so happy it's April because that is apple blossom time. In March we had nice pear blossom, but now apples, and I have many more apples than I have pears. I've also got crab apples and I've got quinces, and the orchard has just exploded with blossom. It is glorious. Look at that. Just layer upon layer of blossom, and some are slightly whiter, some are slightly pinker. The overall effect is dreamy, romantic. It is alive with insects. Every bee for hundreds of miles has come to live in my garden this week, and who can blame them? Look at it. It is just magical. And at this time of year, it's also looking, kind of this whole area is the forest garden, as I ground term it, which is starting to do the job of losing the sense of the square field with trees in it. Also, this year, very excitingly, we are starting to get ground cover developing. So all through here, there are actually now lots of plants, not just bare mulch or back plastic or anything. And it's still a bit patchy, but I've got masses of poppies that are all self-sown. And there's lots of herbs, and I mean, there's a big crop of wild strawberries. No doubt I'll be sick of wild strawberries, but love them. And back in the main garden, the ground cover is also starting to take off. And in particular, in this area, in the big curved bed, this forget-me-not has just gone nuts. It is fantastic. It really provides a kind of unifying element through the whole bed. And there's still quite a lot of bare earth. And that's fair enough. It's only April. We're looking at this going, oh my Lord, soon it's going to be May, and then it's all really going to take off. The other thing, I think, of course, that takes off in May is the Wiley Valley Art Trail, for which I commend you. I am venue 77 on this trail, which is open from the 3rd of May to the end of the following weekend, like the 11th, 12th, something like that. There's a bank holiday in there. Come and visit the studio. If you're very nice to me, I'll even let you have a look at the garden, which is, as you can see, heavenly. Got masses and masses of this kind of pink form of honesty. Look at it, which combined with the wallflowers and the forget-me-nots, the front garden is already a romantic paradise. And just in the kind of patches between the paving, look at all this complexity and everything fighting for its own little space. That's what I like. I like a bit of competition. I like a bit of full borders. And new plants and old plants. It's all fantastic. Not many tulips. I have the odd tulip kind of dotted around. I find the squirrels dig them all up, so we don't really bother with lots and lots of tulips. I also find that putting them in and taking them out, it doesn't feel very sustainable. Am I allowed to say that? It feels a bit artificial. It's a fabulous effect, and I love visiting people's gardens who've done it, but somehow it's not something I want to do in my garden. I like this kind of naturalistic. There is nothing natural about this mix, believe me. It's a lot of hard work to produce it, but it looks as though it could be natural. That's what I really like. That little tree is finally quite happy. It's Seven Suns. It's a Chinese tree. And it was miserable for years, but it is finally happy. And the studio garden is, again, filled with honesty. Although here I've got a couple of different forms. I've got that kind of standard pink form, but I've also just in the background there, and there's another shot in a minute, got a rather nicer blue form. This one called Corfu Blue. It's a nicer, I think it's a slightly nicer colour, and it's definitely a more graceful plant. So next year I'm going to see if Jack can get me more of that. The plant out in the forest garden that's amazing, as long as you've got all the blossoms, but you've also got this berberis, so it's Berberis darwinii. And Darwin, he knew a thing or two, and this is not a bad thing to have named after you. It's got really dark, prickly leaves. It's prickly, it's a berberis, they're all prickly. But the flowers start this deep orange, and then they're fading to this kind of egg yolk yellow. Kind of egg yolks in your dreams, but it's still egg yolk yellow in my mind. And they're just fantastic, particularly seen against dark foliage. But things are actually happening. Look, there's fruit developing on there already, on the currants. And, yet more blossoms. I think this is a form of a quince from memory. but it's not a very big plant yet, so it definitely didn't do any fruit last year. It's only tiny wee, give it a chance, but it's flowering its socks off, so we applaud it for its efforts. That's just a flowering quince, which is a slightly odd thing. Normally they're trained against walls, but I've got it as a kind of slightly floppy shrub. But I do like it, and I like the way it sits between you and the view out to the valley, in this dawn spring light. The oak trees are all that golden brown of the fresh foliage. And speaking of fresh foliage, the area that I slightly pretentiously referred to as the Stumpery, there's one stump, which was a birthday present, but isn't it a great stump? And then there's a few trunks and broken branches that we picked up from the field. But it's looking amazing. I've got my first go of wild garlic, and I'll have lots of that in subsequent years. But everything's really perking up, and there's epimediums, and there's ferns, and there's hostas, and there's brunnera, gallium. And then in front of that, you come into this area of kind of the bigger, more muscular shrubs. So I've got some rhododendrons, which are just coming into flower. No doubt in May they will really hit their form, but they're amazing. And then I'm getting to a size where they're visible from space. But then your eye just goes back to blossom. Look at it. And you just sit by the pond and look at the water and look at the blossom, look at the reflections of the blossom and think, how good can that be?